Right, okay. It's recording, right? Let me share the screen. Let me go to the server. The status whether yes, okay. And let me hide this. Okay, double click on this. Right, guys. You have to very careful during installation. I told you one time. I told you, I guess. Okay, you have to check whether all components are successfully patched or not. Okay, make sure, especially this database engine. Sometimes what is meant by partially patched, if you asked me, database engine won't be patched but other components will be patched. That is called partially successful. Or only database engine will be patched and other components won't be patched. Means some of the components are patched and some of the components are not patched. That is called partially successful. Partially successful won't work, guys. Okay, immediately it may not create any issues, but in the future it will create the issues, guys. In the future it might create the issues. Okay, immediately there will be no impact if it is partially successful, but while doing some of the activities you might get some of the issues. For that you really don't know that is because of this partial successful of the patching and all. So if it is partially successful, means not all the components are successfully patched, then you have to remove the old patch and you have to reinstall the new patch, guys. Again, you have to reinstall it. Okay. So now in my case, in our case, all the components are successfully patched, right? You can close it and go to the SSMS. Okay. Check whether the build number is changed or not. I told you, right? If you patch the SQL server, the actual build number is going to be changed, right? So we'll see whether it was changed or not. And which system database will play a key role in patching the SQL server? Which system database will play a key role in patching the SQL server?
Sir, resource DB.
Resource database is responsible for patching your SQL server, guys. Okay. Resource database. I told you this point. Okay. In the morning, resource database not only going to store the metadata physically, but it's also responsible for patching. If you are patching SQL server, means actually you are patching a resource database. So the whole thing will be updated. The whole SQL server will be updated, guys. Okay. So the resource database will play a key role. And if you see here, you still see lost 1000.169 only, right? This is actually RTM build number. RTM build number, if you see, that is your 1000.169. And if you refresh it as you patch the SQL server, once you refresh it, now you can see the build number changed to 3436.1. And if you see here, okay, you can see 1000.169, right? Again run the query, you can see, okay, just double click on this 14.0.3436.1. So make sure after patching, again you have to check the services, again you have to check the database states, again you have to check this number and this number is same or not. And if you see here, earlier it is just RTM. Now if you see here RTM, on top of that you have applied CU29. Okay, so you have to take the confirmation. Once if you see CU29, then only it was successfully patched. Otherwise, if you don't see CU29 and all, if the patching is not taking effect, then the patching is not successful. Actually, it was failed because of some other reasons that you have to check why it was failed and all. So is it clear, guys? Patching the SQL server. Patching SQL server will take 10 to 15 minutes, guys. Okay, but again, you have to concentrate on the process. If anyone asks you, try to explain the patching with the process, guys, so that you will be impressed. Fine, all good. Any questions?
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, for every 2 months, new cumulative updates will come now, sir. If I
Yes.
want to change, if I want to patch new update, then I have to remove the old patch,
No, no,
or
no,
I
no,
have to continue.
no. It's not like that. Okay, you can apply on the existing update only. There is no such concept of if you want to patch the new update again, you have to remove the old update. You can continue. Okay, on top of that, it is going to be applied.
Okay. Sir, if we that you have said that partially that patch is succeeded, then we have to remove.
Correct.
That means we have to delete that file, sir.
So for that, I am going to give you one task. Okay, this is an assignment. Take this as an assignment. Okay, try to check in our YouTube channel how to remove the patch and all. Okay, so no need to like do extra effort. Simply go to the channel. Simply type. Okay, go to YouTube and SQL DBA classes. Okay, type SQL DBA classes. Right, this is our channel. Go to this. Go to videos. Here, just type remove patch. Whatever topic you want, you just type like this, guys. You will get it. Removing patch from SQL Server. Okay, updated 1 month ago. So just go through it. 10 minutes video. This is okay. So just go through it. Try by your own. If if it is not successful, I'll help you to remove the patch. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Any questions, guys? Okay, so just let me tell you briefly. If you want to remove the patch, you have to go to lusrmgr.msc. This is like add or remove programs shortcut. Go to lusrmgr.msc. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. This is not the shortcut for removing. What is that? appwiz.cpl. Correct. appwiz.cpl.
.cpl.
Yes,
App.
yes. appwiz.cpl.
App.
That is yes. Okay. Appwiz.cpl. Go to appwiz.cpl. Your voice is oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Your voice is completely breaking. Okay, so I'm getting 4-5 times. Okay, so please check your net connection and go to appwiz.cpl, guys. In the run, type appwiz.cpl. You will get this window. Or if you know add or remove programs, go to add or remove programs. Select view installed updates. Okay, and you can see updates that you patched just now. You see here, this is the main update, Microsoft SQL Server 2017 64-bit. You see here KB article 5010786. Okay, if you see here 5010786, this is the KB article we patched, right? So main, you have to uninstall from main component 3436. Okay, 3436, you see here 3436 update. Simply double click on this, just double click on this, you will get a window. Next, remove patch. That's it. Very simple. Okay, like while patching, how we got the window, next, we selected the selected update, right? In the same way, once you double click on this, you will get a window. Next, remove patch. Right, fine. So let me go to the drive. So let me open this. Guys, now we'll jump into the security side. So I'll explain what is the security, how security will work, who is able to log into the SQL server, what are the conditions if you want to connect to the SQL server. All these things we'll discuss, guys. Okay, create a new diagram. Let's go with a blank diagram. I'll try to explain it with the diagram. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Please read folder only. Right, okay. So security mainly deals with who is able to connect to my SQL server, who is able to access my SQL server databases, who is able to access my data or tables. Okay, So all these things means who can connect to the SQL server, who can access the data from the SQL server, all these things will come under, okay, security, guys. For example, you want to give access on a database. One login is there, one person is there. He is asking permissions on a database. How to give access on a database? One person is asking, hey, I don't want on the whole database. I don't want access on the whole database. Just give me permissions on a single table. How to give access on a single table? Okay, how to promote any user as a sysadmin? How to add any login in any of the server roles? How developers will be connected to the SQL server actually in the organization? All these things we'll discuss in the security concept, guys. First, let me tell you how people will be connected to the SQL server. Okay, so imagine this is your organization. Okay, this is your organization, guys. Okay, Infosys. Let's go with Infosys. Infosys. Okay, it will be, this is your company, Infosys company. So in the Infosys company, you will have servers. Okay, let me go with the SQL server. Which one is good? No. This, okay. Let me check more results. Let me go with this one. Okay. Right. Okay. This is fine. So imagine I have a server. In that server, SQL server is installed. Windows server, SQL server is installed. Okay. So if anyone wants to connect to this server, okay, if anyone wants to connect to this server, what they will do, guys? Usually, if it is a, while connecting to the server, we will have two types of authentication, right? While connecting to the server, you can see two types of authentication. One is Windows authentication, and another one is SQL server authentication. What is this Windows authentication means? Let me go like this, okay, and home, home, okay. This is your home. You are doing work from home, okay. You are doing work from home, right? So if you are working from office, if you are working from office, okay, usually you will go to the Infosys building, right? You will be in the Infosys building, right? You will have your laptop, laptop, laptop. You will have your work laptop. Imagine this is your laptop. So what you will do, guys? What you will do? Simply you will log into your laptop. This person will be logged into the laptop, and while connecting to the SQL server, what he will do? Imagine you are a DBA. Imagine you are a DBA. What you are going to do, guys? You will type MSTSC in your laptop. Agree? Everyone, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
You will type
Yes.
MSTSC in your laptop. This is your laptop. You will type MSTSC. Once you typed MSTSC, you will get a window screen. You have to provide username and password. Okay. MSTSC. Like this, you will get a pop-up. You will get a pop-up like this. You have to provide server name. Which server name you will provide? This server name. Imagine you want to connect to this server name 192.168.1.9. This is the server IP address. So this server IP address you will provide here. And once you entered your credentials, this person will have separate credentials, right? He will give his username and password. Then he is able to connect to the server, guys. This is the direct way of logging into the server. Directly you are logging into the server. Okay, this is the Windows authentication. Means you are entering into the server, Windows server. You are entering into the Windows server, guys. Okay, you are entering into the Windows server. You just entered into the Windows server. Okay, listen carefully. Now let me go like this. Okay, and imagine in this Windows server we have SQL installed. Okay, SQL server. Right. In this Windows server, SQL is installed. Once you entered in the SQL server, okay, or else this is not apt diagram. Let me go like this. Okay. Let me keep it here. Right. So you are able to connect to the Windows server if you have permissions to connect to the Windows server. That's okay, no problem. But we discussed one important point. All people, those who are able to connect to the Windows server, they are not authorized to connect to the SQL server, right? If you are able to connect to Windows server means you are not authorized to connect SQL server. What is the basic criteria, guys? If you want to connect to the SQL server, what is the basic criteria? Can anyone tell me? What is the basic
My
criteria?
Permissions.
What should be there?
Permission in
login.
the SQL Server.
Yes, permissions
Perm-
means login should be there. Means this person login. Imagine this person is let me go with Mahesh Babu. Okay, right. Imagine Mahesh Babu is a DBA, right? And Mahesh Babu login should be there in the SQL server. Then only your SQL server will allow you to enter into the. Then only your SQL server will allow you. Where is that? Let me take one more user. Okay, this one, right? So then only from here, this is Mahesh Babu, then only you are able to connect to the SQL server, guys. What is the basic criteria? You should be in this logins list. You should be that Mahesh Babu in this logins list. Then only Mahesh Babu is able to connect to the SQL server, guys. Okay, and while connecting to the server, you will give Mahesh Babu name, Mahesh Babu password, right? So you will get Mahesh Babu here. So that's why while connecting to the SQL server, it won't ask any password. Why, guys? Why it won't ask password? Why? Because Mahesh Babu already authorized his password on the Windows level. SQL server will rely on Windows server security, guys. Okay, as see here, if you go to shopping mall, initially itself they will do a scrutiny, right? They will verify, they will do some checkup and all, right? Then only they will allow you. Once they allowed you into the shopping mall, again they don't do any security checkups during each shop. Agree, guys?
Yes, sir.
If you are going to if you go inside the shopping mall, once you are successfully verified, if you are not carrying any weapons and all, or any flammable items and all, then they will allow you. Okay, so once you are entering to the mall, again no one uh, is going to check you, right? You can enter into any of the shop. In the same way, once you enter into the Windows server, okay, in what condition? If your login is present inside SQL server, you are able to connect to the SQL server without giving any username and password. That's why here it is not asking password, but actually it is asking username, guys. See here, this is the username, this one. Okay, it is asking username, but it won't ask password. Why? While connecting to the Windows server, you already gave password, right? That's why you are able to log into the Windows server, right? So SQL server will depends on Windows server security. So SQL server, okay, Mahesh Babu is able to enter into the 1.9 machine, and his login is there inside the SQL server. Chalo, let him connect to the SQL server. In that way, you can connect using Windows authentication. Windows authentication means Windows level authentication. Windows level, you are a successfully verified user and your login is present inside SQL server. So you are able to connect to the SQL server. Windows team people also, they are able to connect to my Windows server, but they cannot connect to my SQL server. Why? I don't create any logins for them, right? In the logins list. Agree, guys? I don't create any logins for them in the logins list. That's why they can't connect to my SQL server. So don't think everyone who is able to connect to the Windows server can connect to SQL server. No. If you are able to connect to the SQL server, that is first condition. Then your login should be present inside SQL server, that is second condition. Then only you can connect to the SQL server, guys. Is it clear about Windows authentication? Why it won't ask password? Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
If it is not, sir,
Sorry?
if it is not asking means Windows. If it is not asking password means Windows.
You can complete your question.
Sir, if it is not asking password means Windows team can come, no, sir. Can
I told you two conditions. How come Windows team can come? Tell me. What are the
they
two
have
conditions? First, tell me. What are the two conditions to enter into the SQL server? Tell me.
that credential, Windows credential.
Very good. You can connect to the Windows server. Then, if you are able to connect to the Windows server, you are able to connect to SQL server.
In the SQL server,
Uh,
we have using Windows authentication, sir.
right, correct. In the SQL server, even though you use Windows authentication in the SQL server, Mahesh Babu should be there. But I don't
Okay.
create any login for Windows team people, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Agree? So all DBAs will choose Windows authentication. So it won't ask password. That means don't think there is no security. Without password, I am entering into the SQL server. Where is the security? They will ask this kind of question in the interview. But the SQL server, as you selected Windows authentication, it will rely on Windows authentication. Okay, as you are successfully verified user in the Windows level and your login is present inside SQL server, then only you are able to connect to the SQL server without password in the Windows authentication.
Okay. That means that Mahesh Babu login is allocated in that security.
Not allocated, created. It won't allocate. Okay, as a DBS we have to create. Okay, if I want to give access to Mahesh Babu to connect to the SQL server, I have to create login for Mahesh Babu. Then only Mahesh Babu can connect to the SQL server.
Without password also he can connect.
He can connect. That means he's already giving his password while logging to the 1.9 machine, right?
Yes, sir.
Agree? So it's not kind of without password he's connecting. He gave the password, but he's already verified at the Windows level. Clear, guys? Everyone, is it clear? Windows authentication. Any questions? Any questions, please let me know. No problem. I'll explain again if you have any questions. If no questions, then I'll go to the SQL authentication. Right, fine, chalo. Okay, so let's go to the SQL authentication. So for SQL authentication, usually no need to log into the Windows server, guys. For SQL authentication, no need to log into the Windows server. Okay, you can directly here. Okay, imagine for the same Mahesh Babu. Okay, for the same Mahesh Babu, what I did is, okay, I'm unable to get this user. Pull out. Okay, done. Okay, imagine this Mahesh Babu login is a SQL login. Can anyone tell me how this Mahesh Babu can log into the SQL server? This SQL server. How he is
We
able to
need to
connect to the
create.
SQL? Create. Yes. Okay. SSMS will be. I told you right. SSMS will be installed in his laptop. He don't use MSTSC remote connections and all. Simply SSMS will be installed in his laptop. This guy will open SSMS and he will give the server name. Okay, in the SSMS. Then without connecting to the Windows server, he is connecting to my SQL server. Okay, he is connecting to my SQL server, guys. Is it clear? Windows authentication. SQL Server authentication, sorry. Okay, so usually in the organization, I told you right, for developers, okay, only SSMS will be installed in their laptop. They will simply open SSMS and they will give the server name, server IP or server name or IP address, and they will choose SQL. They cannot choose Windows authentication in that case. Why? Because that's not Windows login. We created a SQL login for them. They have to choose SQL login. they will give their login name Mahesh Babu and they will give the password. Okay, and they will click on connect. So they will get the error like this. Why I got the error, guys? Can anyone tell me? Why I got the error? What might be the reason to get the error? Tell me. Just apply your common sense. What might be the
Mahesh
reason?
Babu login is not
No
available
login in
Excellent,
Mahesh Babu.
excellent, excellent. That is the main reason. Mahesh Babu login is not available in the logins list. Super. The second reason might be Mahesh Babu login name or username or password might be wrong. In that case also you will get the same 18456 error. Remember this 18456 error means it's a login failure error. Okay, you will get this error if the login is not existed. You will get this error if the username is wrong. You will get this error if the password is wrong. Okay, in these cases usually you will get 18456 error. Is it clear, guys? In our case, main thing is login is not existed. Is it clear about Windows authentication, SQL Server authentication, how developers will connect to the SQL Server? Is it clear, everyone? Guys, is it clear or it's not clear? Tell me again, no problem.
Yes, clear.
Clear.
Everyone, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes.
one question from my side, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it is Windows authentication means we will log into the server, and by default we can connect to that SQL server.
When by default we can connect to SQL Server?
By using that SSM.
SSM, that's okay. SSMS only. In what condition we can connect to the SQL Server? What is the basic
Means
condition?
Windows authentication.
That's what. Okay, Windows authentication we have to choose. And what is the main thing we should have? If you choose Windows authentication, what should be the main thing you should have? That login should be present inside SQL Server. Then only you can connect without giving password. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Only that is the benefit. Maybe even from even if he is a DBA, so if he's operating from his laptop using SSMS,
Yes.
so there also maybe he is logging to his laptop and he will use Windows authentication. So in that case also no need to provide any password, right?
I did not get your question. So if he is using his laptop, you're asking if he only installed SSMS, okay, in his laptop, still he can use Windows authentication, you're asking?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Yes, he can use it. Okay. Here, yeah. Okay. So still you can use Windows authentication. Why? Because in the laptop, which username you are using to log into the laptop, right? The laptop, how you are logging into the laptop? Windows authentication means what? It will take the username of OS, right? Agree? If you see here, I cannot edit the username. If you choose Windows authentication, I cannot edit it. Why? It already detects this as a user, administrator as a user. That's why no need to edit and you cannot edit also. If you log into the laptop using your special credentials and if you open SSMS, then you can still connect to the SQL Server using Windows authentication from your laptop also.
Yeah, that is my question, sir. So when to use this Windows authentication means whenever we connect it to a server through remote only, we can use with Windows authentication.
Correct. If you have any maintenance activities that you have to do in the server. Yes, please continue.
Normally, all DBs will connect to server only. They will do their operation from server. Is it correct, sir?
Correct. Yes, 99.99% is.
Yeah.
They will connect to the server
directly. That is my
directly.
doubt, sir.
Yeah.
That is my doubt. If a DBA want to connect from his laptop, so what mode he will use to connect database, like Windows or maybe SQL?
Always DBAs will be Windows authentication only. Okay.
Even he connected to remote or maybe on his machine.
In his laptop also, from his laptop also, both cases. Why? Because one time Windows authentication, one time SQL authentication won't work. If you are a Windows login, Windows authentication only will work. If you are a SQL login, SQL authentication only will work.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. So any questions, guys?
For only develop.
Yes, please.
Sir, for only developers only SSMS, that is SQL authentication. Sir.
I don't think only developers will use SSMS. Will also use SSMS once you log into the server. But developers will use SQL authentication, or other users will use SQL
Yes, sir.
authentication. DBS generally will use Windows authentication. Any questions, guys? Is it clear? I hope some of you are not cleared with this concept. Tell me, guys, if you want me to explain again, I'll explain again.
Please, can you explain again?
No problem, I'll explain again. Okay, so let me go with another diagram. Okay, imagine this is my Windows server and this is my SQL server. Okay, this is my Windows server and this is my SQL server. This is 192.168.1.9. This is my Windows server name. Okay, IP address. This is my SQL server. Right. Now, if you want to connect as a Windows authentication, okay, let me go with the laptop. Okay, so here you will type MSDSC in your laptop. You will get Windows you will get remote desktop screen, so that you will give this IP here. Agree? Is this clear, Vasavi?
Yes.
Is this right? So this is clear, right, everyone? Right. Let me write it. Okay. Done. So here, if you once you gave MSTSC, you are able to log into this Windows server. MSTSC will help you to connect to the Windows server only. Now you entered into the Windows server. Okay, now you entered into the, please mute it if you don't have questions. Now you entered into the Windows server. Now, if you want to connect to this SQL server, okay, there is a condition. What is that condition? In the logins list, okay, in the logins list, imagine this is a logins list, okay. In the logins list, your name should be there as discussed. Mahesh Babu is the login, right? Mahesh Babu. Okay, in the logins list, Mahesh Babu should be there. Okay, then he is able to connect to the SQL server, guys. He is able to log into Control Z. Okay. Okay, then only he is able to connect to the SQL server, guys. Now he entered into the SQL server, right? When his name is there in the particular logins list of SQL server. But here what you have to get it is, if you use Windows authentication, okay, while connecting to this server, you will provide username and password only to Windows server. While connecting to the Windows server, you will provide username and password, okay, but you don't provide any username and password to connect to the SQL server. Why? You just selected an option called Windows authentication. Means this SQL server will depends on this Windows server authentication, as Mahesh Babu is already there in the logins list. So this SQL server will allow Mahesh Babu without taking the password, without giving the username and password. Why? Because this is a shopping mall. You already verified and you entered into the shopping mall. Okay, your name is there inside the particular, imagine you're working in a one shop. Okay, so you're an authorized person to work in one shop. This is one instance. Imagine this is one instance. You're working in this shop. As you're an authorized person to work in this shop, you can directly enter into the shop. Okay, no need to again verify from your side. You can directly enter. Why? Because this shop owner will rely the whole shopping complex security. Okay, already security is there, right? They will take care of everything. So no problem. I can allow this guy. Okay, like this it will work. So that's why you don't again check, okay, the username and password. Why? Because you already successfully verified in the Windows level. Is it clear? Windows authentication?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. If it is a SQL authentication, you will usually developers, they will have SSMS in their local laptop. Okay, they will simply type SSMS and they will get a server name. This one they will get this window they will get. Okay, once they click on the connect button, this window now they will give this server name. Okay, what is the server name? This is the server name, imagine. And they will select SQL authentication. Why they will select SQL authentication? They are not connecting to the server directly. They are connecting from client. Okay, so the client is installed in their local laptop. So they have to choose SQL authentication. Windows authentication means if you are able to connect to Windows server, then only you have to choose Windows authentication. If you are not connecting to the Windows server and you are directly trying to connect from your local laptop, you can still connect, but you cannot choose Windows authentication. You have to choose SQL authentication. Okay, you have to choose SQL authentication. Then this SQL server will take care of the security. It will ask, hey, what is your username? Okay, Mahesh Babu. Please wait, let me check Mahesh Babu is there in my list or not. Yes, Mahesh Babu. Then tell me the password. This is my password. Okay, your password is successfully verified. Come inside the SQL server. So that you can directly connect to the SQL server without talking to the Windows server. Okay, that doesn't mean this guy, this Mahesh Babu, from his laptop, he is able to connect to the SQL server. That doesn't mean this SQL server is installed in his laptop. Only SSMS client is installed in his laptop, but server is somewhere. Either it might be UK data center, US data center, or some other location. Is it clear? SQL authentication?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir, according to Windows authentication, here Mahesh Babu is DBA, no, sir?
Yes. DBA and developer also. I'm
the
just saying an example. Okay. Yeah, tell me. Please continue.
That one, in that security folder, a DBA will only create, no, sir, that all names.
Correct.
Yes.
See, Mahesh Babu can't create, again, good point. Okay. Mahesh Babu, first of all, if I want to connect to the server, if you want to create any DBA, any login for other DBA, first of all, you should have access to connect, right? Right? Means this Mahesh Babu cannot create himself as a DBA. Some other DBA has to be created by, some other DBA has to create the Mahesh Babu login. Is it clear? Some other DBA has to create a login for Mahesh Babu and he has to give the permissions. Then only Mahesh Babu can log into the server and Mahesh Babu is able to give permissions to others also. Okay, guys.
Now it is very clear.
Any questions in the security, in the Windows authentication and SQL authentication? Usually developers will connect as a SQL authentication and DBS we always connect to the Windows server first. Then here we'll open SSMS like how I am doing now. Every day, I mean like in every class, first I'll connect to the Windows server. Then I'll open SSMS in the Windows server. Then I'll give the server name. Then I'll connect to the server. This is how I'll do regularly. I'll jump into the server, Windows server first. Then I'll open SSMS in the Windows server. Then I'll connect to this server. This is Windows authentication. Developers, SSMS will be installed in their local laptop. Okay, so once SSMS is installed, they will open this particular server SSMS and they will click on choose. They have to choose SQL authentication and they will choose SQL authentication. They will give this server name here and okay, and this while creating login will create one password, right? That password they will provide here. Then only they will able to connect to the SQL server only, not Windows server.